Alright guys, I've got another video for you. We're working on some more CyberQuest stuff, or whatever they call it. It was CodeQuest, I'll probably say that 18 more times. Here we go, let's go ahead and read this problem, let's get started on it. I would suggest that if you haven't tried this on your own yet, maybe give this a shot without watching this video. This video is going to show you how to do it. We're going to walk through step by step and we are going to solve this thing. Here we go. Competition is key in business. The bottom line is, if sales are up, companies are happy. The top 2 aircraft companies have reported their sales for the year. Who will come out on top? Your program should compare the number of aircraft sold by each company to determine who sold the most aircraft. Your program will be given 2 numbers representing the aircraft sold by Cassowary Craft and Lead Balloons, respectively. It should then report a comparing the sales between the 2 companies. Each test case will include a single line containing 2 positive integers representing the number of aircraft sold by Cassowary Craft and the number of aircraft sold by Lead Balloons. So there's those 2 numbers right there. The first one is going to be Cassowary. The second one's going to be Lead Balloons. For each test case, your program must print a single line of text as follows. If Cassowary sold more craft, print Cassowary Craft sold X more aircraft. If Lead Balloons sold more, then Lead Balloons sold X more aircraft. If both companies sold the same number, then you're going to print Cassowary and Lead Balloons sold the same number of aircraft. In both of these first 2 cases, X should be a positive integer indicating the difference in sales between the companies. So these are the inputs they're giving you, and these are the correct outputs right there. I don't know if I can get that right. There we go. Okay, so Cassowary sold 13. So if you took 22 and you subtracted 9, that would mean that 13 more aircraft was sold by Cassowary. And then the second one, 6 and 14, that would mean Lead Balloons sold 8 more. And then the third one, they obviously sold the same number of aircraft. So you're just going to put Cassowary Crafts and Lead Balloons sold the same number of aircraft. Alright, so this is the challenge we're going to do. I think this is a challenge that most of you should be able to do on your own. But this is a video that shows you how to go through and do these. Okay, why did that just do that? Let me fix this right quick. Come on. I don't know why this stuff happens to me. Maybe if I just refresh it. Okay. I just refreshed the screen and it came back. Alright, so there's our instructions. Alright, so we're going to have 3 outcomes here. We have 3 different outcomes. And then there's the 3 different types of outcomes we're going to have is this one. We want to print out either that, or we want to print out this one right here, the Lead Balloons. I just messed that up again. Or we want this one. That probably has a T on the end. Or the very last one here. We want the number of aircraft sold. No. Oh, they sold the same number right here. Okay. So here is these are our 3 outcomes. Either Cassowary sold more, or Lead Balloons sold more, or they sold the same. Now, the inputs they're giving us are 22 and 9, 6 and 14, 12 and 12. So the whole point of the CyberQuest competition is to make sure your program works under all different types of circumstances. So I'm gonna make some. Let's do sales data 1, and inside of sales data 1, we're gonna put 2 numbers. So I'm making a list. We'll put the first one in there. We'll do 22, comma, and 9, and then we can just duplicate this, and we can do this 3 different times. So we're gonna have sales data 1, 2, and 3. The first one was 22 and 9. The second one is 6 and 14. And then the final one is going to be 12 and 12. All right, so there's our data. And the way that their competition works is they're going to not only just give you these 3, they're going to give you a bunch of different data sets to work through. And you're going to need to take your data set and you're going to need to make sure it works in all different cases. So let's make it work for the first case. Let's make a comment here for the first one. The first one is Cassaway Aircraft, so I'll put CC, Cassaway Craft, and then the second one is Lead Balloons, so I'll do LB. Okay, so the first column is CC, and then the second column is Lead Balloons for LB. Alright, so I got them lined up so I know which one's which. And this is going to be a simple a 3-type check here. We're going to check these 2 numbers together to see if they are true or not. This is something we go over a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it again. So if I want to get the first number in this set, that is going to be not only is it the address for the first number is 0 and the address for the next number is 1. So I can make a print statement here and I can say let's say planes sold by CC, and then this is going to print out that number. Let's do it like that, and then we can add this second one. I'll say comma, put some spaces in here, and I'll say planes sold by LB for Lead Balloons, and then I'll do comma and sales data. Now to get the first number here, we want to get the address. So the address is, to get those, you do square brackets and do 0 for that one, and then we'll get the address for the next one, so that will be 1. So the plane sold by CC in sales data 1 was, let's just run this, was 22, and the sales data for, why did that disappear? Okay, sold by Lead Balloons was 9. Perfect. So we got the 2 numbers. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to compare these together. So the first one is Cassaway Aircraft. So in order to get the first case, we're going to say if sales data 0, that's Cassaway Aircraft, if that number is larger than the Lead Balloons, that would mean we get case 1. This is case 1. Cassaway sold the most, because we're just comparing the 2 numbers. If the first number is larger than the second number, then we get case 1. Print. This should be case 1. Alright, so let's run that. So there we go, sales data 1. This should be case 1. Perfect. It printed out just like we wanted it. So it's taking data 0 and data 1, comparing them together, and this should be case 1. Perfect. Now how did they want it printed out? Now they want to know, we need to format this print statement. We don't need this print statement. We need one that looks like this. So instead of saying Cassaway Craft sold 13, instead of saying this should be case 1, we want to say something like this. So I'll grab this line here stick this one here. And in this case, we don't want 13. We want the difference between the two. So we could say sales difference. And to get the sales difference, you're just taking the first one and you're subtracting the second one. There we go. So we're taking the first one, we're subtracting the second one, and that's going to give us the sales difference. So to make it's not always going to be 13 right there. So we're going to want to sub out this 13 with the X, or in our case, sales difference. If you wanted to use X, you could. So you could say X. So I could say, let's just do X. We'll just go ahead and do that. It's fine. All right. So instead of X, so 13, we'll say, let's make it where we put our X in the middle there. So there we go. We got our X. Alright, let's see what that looks like. So now we run this, and now it says Castaway Craft sold 13 more aircraft. Perfect. If we edit our numbers here, let's say I change this to 35, we can leave that second one 9, that's okay. When we run that, it's going to compare the two numbers, comparing these two. The first one is larger, so this one plays, and since this one played, it's going to take the first number, subtract the second number, and then just print it out. So boom, there we go. 26 different aircraft. All right, I'll leave that right there. That's fine. So we got that first one set up. So our first data point, good to go. All right, let's check our second one here. So this time, instead of using sales data 1, we're going to use sales data 2. It's going to look very similar to what we just did. I'm going to go ahead and link these together because you could make 3 if statements. If sales underscore data 1, actually 2, and we're sorry. This is comparing the first number, and we want to compare it to the second number, but this time we're going to want to flip the signs around. This one is trying to see, is this one larger? We want to do the other way around. We're going to say if this second number all right, and I'll do something like print this is case 2. All right, now since I still have this part in here, it might look a little confusing. So let's comment it out. We'll uncomment this in a second. So if I run this, now it says, oh, let me comment this one out here. Actually, you know what? We'll just change the number. Instead of data 1, we'll do data 2. Data 2, data 2. Run. Sold 6 planes and 14 planes. This is case 2. Because CC was smaller than LB. And in that case, we're going to do something very similar to what we did here. So I'll grab this X, and I'll say X, take sales data 1, and subtract sales data 2, like that. And now we're going to want to reformat our string for the next one. We want to print something else like this. Lead balloons, LTD, sold X more aircraft, so I'll drop that in right there. We don't want to use the X. We want to stick this X in there, so I'll make this a string. I'll make this a string, and there we go. So it's going to take this string, put the variable in the center, and then it's going to put the other string on the end. And let's see what we get printed out. Uh-oh, error. What did I do wrong? Oh, I'm comparing sales data 1, data 1. We want to do sales data 2. So sales data 2, sales data 2. And it's actually 1 and 0 and not 1 and 2. All right, so run it again. Let me clear this I don't like all that junk. Okay, so planes sold by CC was 6. Planes sold by LB was 14. So you take 14, you subtract 6, and you get 8. So lead balloons sold 8 more aircraft, which is exactly what printed out. And we could also test this one again. I could change the number, 55. I run that, and now it's going to say lead balloons sold 49 more aircraft this time. Okay, so that's also perfect. Let's do one more. We're going to comment all those out. So we're going to go to the very last one here. This one is case number 3, and in case number 3, both aircraft plants, or whatever, sold the same number of aircraft. So that means these two need to be the same. So I can say if, and I'll just grab this first line here. I'll just grab that line. If under sales data 3, if this number is the exact same, so I'll use double equals, that compares this number to this number. If they are exactly the same, this is going to be case 3. And I'll do data 3. And I'll run that. And you'll see, look right there. Both of those numbers are identical, 12 and 12. So that means they are the exact same. This is case 3. What do we do in case 3? Well, we want to print out this. Castaway and lead balloons sold the same number of aircraft. So I'm going to drop this in there. They sold the same exact number of aircraft. And there you have it. Perfect. Run. Perfect. Okay. We've got all 3 of our cases. All 3 of them work. They do exactly what their program asked us to do. Now there's only one other small problem that we need to take care of. If you take a look at what they want all 3 printouts. 1, 2, 3. They're going to give you the data like this in this format, and they want to see this. 1, 2, and 3. Now, this will probably print exactly. Let me comment out my line 34. So the only thing that can print are these 3 things. 1, 2, 3. And we're comparing data set 1. We're comparing data set 2, and we're comparing data set 3. So if I run this, let me clear this console, it does print out exactly that. It prints out what that one data set wants. Perfect. But what happens if instead of data set 1, what if data set 1 was 12 and 12? So let's say those were the same. And what if this one was opposite? What if this was 55 and 6? And then what if this one was 5 and this one was 100? We're gonna get no printouts. Our program is totally breaking under this scenario. Why? Why is that happening? Why is nothing printing out anymore? We just made all this perfect code. Well, this first case is only working on sales data 1, and it only works if the sales data for CC is larger than LB. We need to compare all 3 of these things. So we need this data to look at all of them every single time. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a data package. And inside of that data package, I'm going to put all of my data here. So we'll take sales data 1, we'll take sales data 2, and we'll take sales data 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So now we have our data package that I just took all this information and I stuck it in there. Now I need to look at each one of these individual data packages one at a time. So let's come up here, and how we can do that is with a for loop. We'll say for data, in data package, we want to do something. We want to compare the data in that data package. So the first one, instead of comparing just sales data 1, we're going to want to compare the data in this package. So what that does is it goes up to the package, and it goes up to this sales data 1, and it drops sales data 1 into data. And so now we're data. Right now in the first loop through, data is sales data 1, and it's getting the first number here, and it's looking at it. And then it's grabbing the second number, and it's looking at it, it's comparing those two. So we're going to do the same thing here on this one, data and data. All right, so the way for loops work is they grab the first item, they put it in data, and then they do something to it. Then it goes back up to the top. After it's completed its process, then it goes back to the top, grabs the next set of data, puts it in there, and then does something to it. Then it goes back up to the top, grabs the next one, sticks it in there, and does something to it. All right, so instead of using just 1, 2, 3, we're using this loop to go through all of them one at a time and do that for us. All right, so data 0. So we're instead of comparing data 2, data 3, data 4, we're just using data. So we'll say data, data, data. This one's going to be data. This one's going to be data. This one's going to be data. And here. And here. And here. All right, so one more time. We'll go through this one more time. We've got our data that they send us right there. They're going to send us some type of information. Sales data 1. Inside of sales data 1, they're going to put some numbers. They could be literally anything. They could be 510. They could be 5,044,000. They could be 1 and 1, 0, 0. They could be whatever. Okay? They're going to put that information in there, and they're going to do it 3 times. Well, we take our information, or actually they could do it more than that, but we're going to solve it for like this. So we take that information and we stick it into data package. So we turned it into a list. Then what do we say? We say go to that list and grab each set of data one at a time and compare them and look at them. If data 0 is larger than data 1, then we want to do some math on it and say, hey, this person sold more. However, if it's the other way around, then we're going to say, hey, this person sold more. And then we'll, on the third case, if they're both the same, we'll say, hey, both of these things are the same. Ta-da. All right, so let's see if we run it now, if we get our printout here. Castaway Craft and Lead Balloons sold the same number. Did they sell the same number on the first one? Yes, they did. All right, here's the second one. Castaway Craft, did he sell more? Yes, he did. Did Lead Balloons sell more on the third one? Yes, they did. So let's make them all the exact same. Let's say they're all 12 and 12. 12, 12, let's do this last one. 5 and 5. Run, so this should just be 3 printouts. Castaway Aircraft and Lead Balloons sold the same one. And you can do, let's do 1, 1, 1 there. So now Castaway Craft should dominate. There we go. Or actually, that's Lead Balloons. And now let's change it. 100, 100, 500. There we go. All right. So that is the solution to this. It's basically just several if statements. I used all if statements on this one. If, and if. I would kind of recommend doing if, elif. You don't have to. The if statements obviously work just fine. I like putting them together like that. But anyway, that's the end of this assignment. Hopefully you learned something, and I will see you guys in the next video.